A good day to all. In this presentation, we are going to see what is contact force and different type of contact forces. So by the end of this presentation, you can able to understand the idea of force and its effect, and you can able to classify the action based upon pulling and pushing actions, and you can able to define what is force and differentiate between the contact and non-contact forces, and explain different type of contact forces such as muscular, frictional, normal and tensional forces, and understand the relationship between surface roughness and the frictional force, and identify the direction of force acting in an object, and calculate the net force which is acting in an object. Let us see some background discussion about the forces. In lower classes, we studied about the changes occurring around us, like changes in season, changes during sunrise and sunset, changes in the sea level, and we have also learned how the objects are moving. Do you all thought what was the reason behind that? So in the olden days, people are start believe that there is an invisible force which caused these changes, and later scientists have discovered the reason behind these changes. From there the concept of force has been developed. Let us consider some of our everyday experience such as running, catching a ball, hitting a ball with a bat, goalkeeping, jumping. Similarly, when we open a door, we put an effort on the doorknob with our hand either to push the door forward or pull it backward, right? And activities like picking, opening, shutting, kicking, hitting, lifting, flicking, pushing, pulling are often used to describe tasks. In all such activities, we are changing the state of motion of some object, that is, either the object is made to come to rest or to move forward or to change its direction of motion. These actions usually result in some kind of change in the motion of the object. I have given some of the actions like digging, sucking, erasing, attracting, falling, and rising. Let us classify these actions based upon pushing and pulling. First one is a digging borewell. So in this action, the digging is an example of an pushing action, because during digging, the iron rod is moving down to push the water upward direction. So this is an example for pushing action. And second one is here sucking juice with a star. In this example, we are sucking a juice from the tumbler to our mouth. So this is an example for pulling action. And third one is the erasing blackboard with duster. So in this action, we are moving the duster or moving our hand in the left as well as the right direction to erase the content. So this is an example for both pushing and pulling action. And fourth one is the attracting action, that is a magnet attracting a nail, that is it is pushing all the nails towards its surface. That action is classified as a pushing action. And fruit which is falling down from the tree is an example for pulling action, because the fruits are pulled towards the earth, and it is classified as a pulling action. And raising a flag, in this action, we are raising a flag in a upward direction, so it is an example for pushing action. Let us see what is force and its type in detail. So in science, a push or pull of an object is called force. Thus we say that motion imparted to object is due to the action of force. Force is a push or pull. It can act on an object with or without being in contact with it. I have given some of the examples such as how a bicycle is moving by pushing and pulling action of an pedal. Similarly, how we are lifting the school bag by doing the lifting and lowering action of our hand. Similarly, how we are opening the door by moving it forward direction or in a backward direction. So from these examples, you can see that by action of pushing and pulling, we are making an object to move, that is, change its state of motion. So, force is nothing but make an effort or an action to change the motion of an object. And these actions may be grouped into pushing and pulling action, lifting and lowering action, moving it forward or backward directions, or in some cases, it may be stretching and twisting. So, in general, if you group all these actions into two categories such as pushing and pulling actions. So force is nothing but a action of pulling and pushing. So in general, force exists in nature that affect the movement of humans. A common classification is contact and non-contact forces. The non-contacting force, it may also called as force at a distance or field force. So contact force is nothing but a force on account of direct physical contact between two interacting objects is called as contact force, and force which occur without any physical contact between two objects is called as force at a distance or field force. So contact forces are those forces which act only when objects are in physical contact with each other and bring about necessary changes. The following are type of contact forces. They are muscular force, frictional force, normal force and tensional force. So the example for contact force is a paste which is coming out from the paste tube. Here we are applying a force by pressing the toothpaste tube due to which the paste is coming out. So here there is a direct physical contact between our hand and the toothpaste tube. So this is an example for contact force. Let us see muscular force in detail. In all the actions that we perform in our daily life, like brushing, bathing, eating, writing, and walking, we have to exert a force. The force which we exert by using our body muscle is known as muscular force. All animals and human beings use their muscles to do work, and the muscle exert force on the object that bring it motion. Muscular force can also change the speed of the moving bodies, and muscular force can be exerted only through the physical contact. Here I have given some of the example for muscular force. The best example for muscular force is smiling. So during smiling, we are pushing our lips, so it make a very big change in our face. Similarly, another example for muscular force is body workout. So during body workout, we are changing our physical structure of the body to a particular shape. So this is also an example for muscular force, and another example for muscular force is animal muscular force. That is, in our daily life we can utilize the animal muscles to do a work for us. That forces are called as animal muscular forces. I have given some of the example for muscular force which is acting in our body, that is muscular force which is acting outside our body and inside our body. So skipping, dancing, cycling, drawing and cutting are some of the muscular force which is acting outside our body, and within our body a blood circulation, expansion and contraction of lungs, that is nothing but a respiration or breathability, and grinding of food particles, sweating, and opening and closing of an eyelids are some of the example for muscular force which is acting inside our body. Next we'll see frictional force in detail. A ball moving on the ground come to rest after moving through some distance, right? Similarly, a vehicle come to rest once its engine is switched off. We know that some force is required to stop a moving body. Therefore, some force must be exerted by the ground on them to stop them. This force is called the frictional force or the force of friction. So the frictional force is nothing but force which is required to stop the moving object, and that force is called as frictional force. Always the frictional force act against to the moving force. We can define friction as follows. When two surfaces slide over each other, the force which opposes this motion is called friction. As the force of friction arises when the surface of two objects come in contact with each other, it is called a contact force. Let us perform an activity to find out how the motion of ball is differing on different surfaces. So for this activity, you take a ball, roll it on different surfaces like carpet, rough road and smooth floor and observe the motion of the ball on different surfaces. We observe that the motion of ball is different in each cases, right? It is moving 12 meter in the smooth floor, 7 meter in the carpet and only 5 meter in the rough road. So we learned that the force of resistance to the motion seems to be more on the rough surface than on the smooth floor, and that is why the ball moved in a higher distance in the smooth floor and lower distance in the rough road, because in the rough road it exposed to more friction, and that's why it moved in a shorter distance. The rolling ball moved faster on the smooth marble floor than on a rough sandy surface. So, from this observation, we have concluded that as the surface roughness increases from the smooth floor to the sandy surfaces, the speed of the ball is decreasing. Why? Because as the roughness is increasing, the force of resistance is also increasing, and thus the ball move in a shorter distance, or the speed of the ball is decreasing while increasing the roughness of the surfaces. Let us see another activity like motion of an object in an inclined plane. For this activity, you take a tray, take a small ice cube, eraser and a rupee coin and place them on a line at one end of the tray. Now slightly lift this end of the tray and observe their motion. In this activity, we observe that the ice block reaches first and the coin reaches later, and finally the rubber reaches the ground level, right? Because ice have less friction between the board and the object, that is why it moved faster compared to the coin and the eraser, and eraser having a higher friction between the board and the object, and that's why it moved in a very slow speed. So we learn that the friction is the resistance to the movement of a body over the surface of another body. We also learn that the direction of friction is always opposite to the direction of motion relative to the surface. The frictional force which opposes relative motion of surface in contact. So does the frictional force is necessary for our life? Yes, it is necessary for our day to day life. Like the action we perform in our day to day life, like walking, dancing, driving, or writing, for all this action, we need friction to do all these works. What happens if there is no friction between you and the earth. So, in some cases, you have noticed that the presence of liquid or the presence of some object may reduce the friction between the you and the earth. In that condition, you may fall down onto the earth. So consider an example where a girl is walking on the wet floor, she may fall down onto the ground, right? The reason behind that, the presence of liquid or the presence of solid object like a banana, if we walk on that, the presence of this liquid and the solid object reduce the friction between you and the earth, and due to that reduced friction you are falling down onto the ground. So for doing all our day to day activities like walking, dancing, skipping, or doing any work, we need some frictional force between human and the earth. Now, let us see normal force in detail. So, normal force is nothing but force which is acting perpendicular to the plane of an object is called normal force. So let us perform an activity to understand normal force in detail. Imagine that a book is placed on a table and it does not fall down because it is supported by the table. We know that contact objects exert force to each other because of their weight. So owing to this reason, the book exerts a force to the table because of its weight, and table also exert force to the book. In general, a direction which is perpendicular to the plane of a surface is said to be normal, and the force that a solid surface exerts on any object in that normal direction is called as the normal force. In the above example, the downward gravitational force is being balanced by the upward normal force. Since these two forces are equal magnitude and acting in opposite direction, the sum of these forces, that is, the net force acting on the book is zero, and the book is said to be in equilibrium, that is, the book is in rest on the table. Next we will see tensional force. So let us perform an activity to understand about tensional force in detail. Imagine that a stone is suspended with the help of a thread or string and its free end is tied to the stand. We know that stone would fall down due to gravitational pull of the earth if the string is broken. For a stone tied to a thread, gravity pulls down the stone all the time, but it does not fall down because it is supported by the thread. Thus, there exists a force which supports the stone against gravity by pulling it upward. It is called tension, which always pulls the body along the string. The direction of the tensional force is always away from the surface of the object to which the thread is attached. When we try to stretch a thread or a string, the tightness of the thread or string is called tension. In the above example, the gravitational force is balanced by the upward tensional force. Next we will see limiting force of a string. So let us perform an lab activity to find out a limiting force of a string. The material used in this lab activity are spring balance, weight, light string, weight hanger. Arrange the system as shown on the video and put some small weight like 50 gram on the weight hanger and observe the reading of the spring balance and note down. Now add some more weight to the hanger. Once again note the reading of the spring balance. Repeat the same process till the string is broken. Note the reading of the balance when the string is broken. Separate the whole system from the ceiling and now take another string and tie it one end to weight hanger and another end to the string balance. Place some weight like 50 gram. Now slowly pull up the whole system with your hand and note the reading. Repeat the same procedure for various weights like 100 gram, 200 gram, 300 gram and 500 gram and note the reading. So in this activity, we observe that the force required to move the weight hanger over the surface increases with the increasing in the mass of the weight hanger, right? Finally, we learn from this observation that the frictional force which opposes movement must also increase with the increase in the mass of the moving object. Finally, we learn that the frictional force which opposes movement must also increase with the increase in the mass of the moving object. So the limiting force that a string can bear is the maximum load that we can hang from it without breaking it. So the maximum tension which a string can bear is called as breaking strength, which depends upon applied force and material of the string which is made. In an overall, we have seen what is force, and force is nothing but a pushing or pulling action. It can act on an object with or without being in contact with it. And we have seen the two different types of forces such as contact force and force at a distance. So contact force is nothing but a force which results when there is a direct physical contact between two interacting objects is known as contact force, and force which occur without any physical contact between two objects is known as a force at a distance or a field force. And we have also seen what are the different types of contact forces such as muscular, frictional, normal and tensional force. Under tensional force, we have also seen the limiting force of a string. A good day to all. In this presentation, we are going to see what is non-contacting force and different types of non-contacting forces. By the end of this presentation, you can able to define what is contact force and what are all the different types of contact forces: magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. And you can able to define magnetic field and identify the direction of net force which is acting in a given situation or which is acting in an object, and how to calculate force acting on an object and free body diagrams, and how the effect of forces changes the moment of body and its shape. And also you can able to learn how the effect of force changes with the area of contact. Now we'll see what is non-contact force. So, some forces do not involve physical contact between the bodies on which they act. They act through the space between them, and such forces are called non-contact forces or force acting at a distance. The following are types of non-contacting forces. They are magnetic force, electrostatic force, and gravitational force. A example for non-contacting force is a fruit falling down from the tree. It always pulled towards or attracted towards the earth. So without any physical contact, earth attracting fruits towards it. So this type of attracting force is example for non-contacting force. Let us see magnetic force in detail. So magnetic force is nothing but the force exerted by a magnet on an object is called magnetic force. Example for magnetic force is a nail attracted by a magnet when it kept near to the magnet. This type of attracting force called magnetic force, and always magnet attract iron particles to its end, and that ends are called as poles. And in general, magnet always have two different types of poles, and they are north pole and south pole. Always magnet attract or repel iron particle through these poles only, and this action of attraction or repulsion result due to a magnetic force caused by a magnetic field, and this phenomena is called as a magnetism. Let us perform an activity to understand what is magnetic force, magnetic field, and the magnetism. You take two sewing needles as shown in the picture and take a bar magnet and rub them in the same direction with bar magnet several times individually. Do it for another needle also. Do this rubbing activity at least for a minute. Now the needle act like a magnet. Now take a compass. Identify the north and south pole of the needles. Here the compass shows the north and south pole of the needles. Now take a color foam ball and pin it to the north pole of the needle, that is white color in the north pole and red color foam ball in the south pole. Now take a water in bowl and drop the needles in bowl of water side by side so that their like ends with the red or white ball faces each other, and observe the changes. Now take them out. Once again place the needle in such a way that unlike ends, one white ball and one red ball of each needle faces each other, and observe the changes. In this activity, we observe that the red end of one needle and white end of another needle attract each other, and the end with the same color repel each other. So finally, we learn that like poles repel each other or push each other, and unlike poles attract or pull each other. This action of pull or push result due to the magnetic force, and a magnet can attract or repel another magnet without any physical contact. So here I have shown the pictorial representation of the same. You can see that always the unlike poles of two magnets attract each other, and the like poles of the magnet will repel each other. This action of pulling or pushing results due to the magnetic force which is caused by the magnetic field. I have shown you another video which describes how a magnet can attract or repel another magnet and deflect the path of the needle. For this action, you take two bar magnet, compass, metallic and non-metallic ball and ram. When two magnets of same pole kept near to each other always repel each other and it is always move away from its path. You can see that the south pole of the both needle repelling each other and moving away from the path. Magnet of different poles faces each other, it attract each other and merge together. See, north and south pole of the magnet attracting each other and merge together. When you pass a non-metallic ball near the magnet, it will move in a straight line. See, the non-metallic ball will move in a straight line, whereas metallic ball deflect its path from the line and magnetic force which act in the metallic ball to deflect its path. So not only the magnet deflect the path of the magnetic ball, it also deflect the path of the needle in the magnetic compass. See, the attractive pole of the magnet changes the direction of the needle in the compass and the repulsive pole deflect the needle in the compass. That is, it keep on oscillating the needle. So from the activity 1 and 2, you have observed that without any physical contact, a magnetic force causes attraction of opposite poles and repulsion of like poles, and also it deflects the path of the metallic items like a metallic ball and the metallic needles in the magnetic compass. Next we'll see what is magnetic field. Let us perform an activity to visualize the magnetic field. For that, you take a bar magnet and put it on a table and take a white drawing sheet. Place it over the bar magnet. Now, take some iron fillings, sprinkle them on the paper. Now, tap the table gently with pencil and observe the changes. So in this activity, we observe that in a small space around the magnet, iron fillings set themselves in a particular pattern because they are affected by the magnetic force of the field created by the bar magnet. So the pattern represents the magnetic field and the space around the magnet where its influence can be detected is called the magnetic field. Finally, we learned that every magnet has an invisible magnetic field around it. This field is made up of lines of force that attract magnetic materials such as iron fillings towards it. The fillings form a pattern as they line up in the direction of the magnetic lines of force Thus, we say that a field is a region in which a force can be experienced by another object when it is placed at any point in that region. So I have given the pictorial representation of the magnetic field in a line diagram as in this slide. So here you can see that the pattern represents the magnetic field, and the strength of the magnetic field will be higher near the magnet and it is lower when it is moved away from the magnet. So this magnetic field is drawn into a line, and that lines are called as a magnetic field line. This line will always move from the north to the south pole around the magnet, and within the magnet this magnetic field line will move from the south pole to the north pole. So the density of this magnetic field line represents the strength of the magnetic field, and it will be stronger near the magnet, and the strength will become weaker when it is moved away from the magnet. Always a magnetic field surround a magnet, an electric field surround electric charges, and a gravitational field surround masses. So from the above slides, we have learned that what is non-conducting force and what is magnetic force. Under magnetic force, we have learned that attractive and repulsive action of magnetic force and effect of magnetic force on iron particles. Either it attract or deflect the path of the iron objects, or in some time it will form a particular pattern, and that patterns are called as a magnetic field. And we have also seen the strength of the magnetic field, that is, the strength of the magnetic field will be very high near the magnet and it will become weaker when it is moved away from the magnet. Next we'll see what is electrostatic force. For this, let us perform an activity to understand the electrostatic force. For that, you take a balloon, inflate it, and tie up the open end with the help of thread. Take a white paper, cut into a small pieces. Place the small paper pieces on the table and take a balloon and rub it with another paper. Now bring the balloon near the piece of paper and observe the changes. In this activity, we observe that there is an attraction between the balloon and the piece of paper even though the balloon is some distance away from the paper, right? The balloon is rubbed with a paper, it occurs an electrostatic charge on its surface. Now the balloon becomes charged body, and when it is brought near the paper, the pieces of paper occur opposite charges and will rise and cling to the balloon. That is, when a balloon rubbed with a paper, it occur an opposite charge on its surface, and that charges are called as a electrostatic charges. And when that charged body will bring near to the charged or uncharged pieces of paper, the paper occur an opposite charge and attracted towards the balloon. That type of attraction force is called as a electrostatic force. Balloon not only attract the pieces of paper, it also attract the human hair when it is kept near to the human body. That is, the rubbed balloon attract the human hair. So what we learn from this observation is the force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force, and this force come into play even when the bodies are not in contact. It is an example for a force at a distance. So I have given the another example, that is you take a plastic comb and comb your dry hair with this comb and bring the comb near to the pieces of paper. What you have observed here that the comb attract the pieces of paper towards it. So here also a static charge generated on the surface of the comb, and that charge attract the pieces of paper. Next we'll see what is gravitational force. So the gravitational force is a force exerted by an earth to attract all the object towards it. This attraction or pulling force is called as gravitational force. Example for gravitational force is a fruit falling down from the tree is always pulling towards the earth, and this pulling force or attraction force of earth is called as gravitational force. The strength of the gravitational force is mainly depends upon the distance where the object is falling down and the mass of an object. Next we'll see how to calculate net force acting in an object. For calculation of net force, I have given two examples. In the first case, a book is in rest position, and in the second case, a stone is in motion. First, we'll see how to calculate net force acting in a science book kept on a table. So, in this case, forces of equal magnitude, such as strength of normal force and strength of the gravitational force, are equal, but it is acting in a opposite direction. So the net force acting in a book is 0, and thus the book is in equilibrium or it is resting on a table. In the second case, that is, two forces such as tensional force and the gravitational force are acting in a stone, but the strength of the two forces are not equal, and then the net force acting in a stone will be not a 0. That is, net force will be the difference between these forces, and thus the object will be in motion. In general, strength of the force expressed as magnitude and direction of force expressed as, or it is denoted by right arrow, and SI unit of the force is Newton. Next, let us perform an activity to observe the effect of net force acting on an object. For this activity, you take any heavyweight objects like a table that you can move only by pushing hard. Try to push it and observe the changes. Now ask your friend to push in the same direction along with you. We observe that it is easier to push the table when you take the help of your friend. The force applied by your friend added to the force exerted by you result in both forces being applied on the table in the same direction. The total force applied by both of you make it easier to move the table. Now ask your friend to push the table from the opposite direction to you and observe. We learned that all the forces have both magnitude and direction. While adding forces, the direction of force have to be taken into account. When forces act on a body along a straight line and they act in the same direction, then the net force is taken as the sum of all the forces acting on the body. So in this case, consider force which is acting towards the right direction is F1, and force which is acting in the left direction is F2. If the force of F1 is greater than the F2 means, then the net force which is acting on the table will be F1 plus negative of F2. Why the F2 is negative here? Because it is acting in opposite direction. Then the net force will be F1 minus F2. That is, the net force of the table will be the difference between the force which is acting on the table. In this case, the object will move in the direction of the net force acting on it. I have given the pictorial representation of the same three conditions here. In the figure 1, you have seen that a single person is moving a table in a single side. So if you calculate force which is acting in this condition, that is F net for a figure 1 will be the F1. And in this figure 2, two persons are pushing a table from the same direction, and if you calculate force acting on this condition, then the net force will be the sum of F1 plus F. Why the net force is sum of F1 and F2 here is both the forces are acting in the same direction. And if you calculate the net force which is acting in figure 3, in this case two persons are pushing a table in a opposite direction. So the net force in this condition will be the F1 minus F2. That is, the net force is equal to the difference between the two forces. Next we'll see how to calculate the net force acting in a stretched rubber band. So for this activity, you take a rubber band, stretch it using your finger and observe the force from your finger. And now take one more similar rubber band, add it to your finger and stretch both together to the same length and observe the force exerted on your finger by the rubber bands. Repeat the same procedure by increasing the number of rubber bands. We will observe that when we stretch the rubber band, it exerts force on your finger and feel the force of pulling on your finger, right? Similarly, we also observe that the combination of two bands exert a large force than that of the one rubber band. Assume that the force exerted by one rubber band is F unit means, then the force exerted by the second rubber band is also F unit. Then the net force of the two rubber band is equal to the F plus F, that is equal to 2F. If 3 rubber bands means, then the net force will be 3F. Consider n number of rubber band you are stretching it, and if you calculate the net force acting on that condition is equal to the n into F. Next we'll see how to calculate net force which is acting on a free body diagram. So the free body diagram is nothing but the diagram showing all the forces acting on an object at a particular instant is called free body diagram. It is denoted as FBD. Assume that a car is moving with a non-uniform speed on the road. In this condition, there are 4 different types of forces are acting on that car. One is a moving force applied by the engine, that is F, and opposite to this moving force, there is a equal amount of frictional force which is acting on the car, and that force is denoted as a small f. And normal force which is acting against the gravitational force, and the fourth a gravitational force which is acting on the car to pull towards the earth. If you denote these 4 type of forces into a 2-dimensional view using x and y axis, you can see that in the x direction, the moving force and the frictional forces are acting in an opposite direction, and in the y direction, normal force and a gravitational forces are acting in an opposite direction. So if you calculate the net force which is acting in y direction, that is F net force in y direction is equal to the difference between the moving force and the frictional force, that is capital F minus small f. And if you calculate the net force which is acting in y direction, that is net force acting in y direction is equal to the sum of normal force N1 plus N2 minus gravitational force. Gravitational force is nothing but a weight of the car. Next we'll see how the effect of force affect the motion of an object. So let us perform an activity to understand effect of force on state of motion of an object. So for this activity, you take a football, place it on the ground. Now ask a player to kick the ball towards the goal post, and now ask the goalkeeper to stop the ball. In this activity, we observe that the ball was at rest, so its speed was 0 before it was hit. The player applied force on the ball that moves the ball towards the goal. Suppose the goalkeeper jump and save the goal, means in that condition he is trying to apply a force on the moving ball, and the force applied by him can stop or deflect the ball and save the goal. If the goalkeeper succeeds in stopping the ball, then the speed of the ball decreases to 0. Finally, from this observation, we learn that a force applied on an object may change its speed. If the force applied on the object is in the direction of its motion, then the speed of the object increases. If the force applied in the opposite direction of the motion, then decrease in the speed of the object. Let us perform another activity to find out effect of force and direction of an moving object. For this activity, you take a carom board, hit a carom coin with the striker. Now ask your friend to do the same and observe the direction of coin in each cases. So in this activity, we observe that the direction of the coin changes in each cases, right? Similarly, we also observe that while hitting the coin with the striker, not only does the coin changes its direction, but the striker changes its direction too. So from this observation, we learn that net force stop a moving object or make a stationary object to move, and also changes the speed and direction of a moving object. Thus, force can change the state of motion of an object. From the activity 1 and 2, we have observed that net force can stop a moving object or make a stationary object to move, and also change the speed and as well as the direction of an moving object. Thus, force can change the state of motion of an object, and also it change the direction of an object. Next we'll see effect of force on shape of an object. So the applied force, that means the applied net force, may change shape of an object temporarily or permanently based upon the nature of the object and the force applied on it. So I have given some of the action which change the shape of an object temporarily or permanently. Let's see these actions. First, stretching a rubber band is an example for a temporary change, because if you remove the applied force, the rubber band will come back to its original shape. So this action is an example for a temporary change. Next, while squeezing a sponge, if you remove the applied force, then the sponge will retain its shape. So this is also an example for temporary change. And tearing a paper, crushing a plastic bottle, and making a chapati or breaking a glass. These are all the some of the example for permanent change. That is, even though if you remove the applied force, it will not retain or it will not come back to the original position. So these are the activities or example for an permanent change. So in general, the applied force may change the shape of an object temporarily or permanently based on the nature of the object and the force applied on it. Next, we'll see how the effect of applied force change with the area of contact. For this study, let us perform an activity to find out effect of force with the area of contact. For this action, you take a pencil. So for this action, you take a pencil, push it round end on your palm, and now push from the other side of the pencil so that this sharp end is on your palm. So in the both cases, you may feel more pain while the sharp end of the pencil is pushing on your palm, right? Because the effect of force depends on the area of contact on which the force is acting. When there is a decrease in the area of contact of the force, then the effect of force increases. So, force which is acting perpendicularly on a unit area of surface is called pressure. That is, the pressure may define as pressure is equal to force per area. That is, pressure is nothing but amount of force which is acting perpendicularly on an unit area is called pressure, and the SI unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. As we all know, the unit of force is Newton and unit of area is meter square. So the unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. Let us perform another activity to find out how the effect of force changes with the area of contact. So for this activity, you take two trays, fill both the trays with fine sand. Now take two rectangular bricks of equal mass and similar shape. Put one brick vertically in one tray and put the other brick horizontally in the second tray and observe the changes. So in this activity, we observe that the brick standing vertically sinks deeper in sand than the brick standing horizontally. You all noticed, right? The depth to which the brick sinks in the first tray is deeper than in the second tray. So we learn from this activity is that if the contact area or surface area on which force is acting is smaller, then the pressure exerted by the brick is more. That is, if the area of contact is decreases, then the effect of pressure will be higher and more forces are acting in that condition. That's why the brick which is kept vertically sink more than the bricks which is kept horizontally. So for a given force, if the surface area is smaller, the pressure will be greater. If we use a large area, we are spreading out this force and the pressure becomes smaller. That's why the brick which is kept horizontally sink less than the bricks which is kept vertically. So from this presentation, we have seen what is non-contacting force and what are all the different type of non-contacting forces. There are three different type of non-contacting forces are there. One is magnetic, electrostatic and the gravitational force, under which we have also seen what is magnetic field. We have also seen that force has a magnitude and direction. We have also seen how to calculate these forces which is acting on an object and acting on a free body diagram. And we have seen effect of force on movement of an body. Either it change the speed of an object and also it change the direction of an object. And we have also seen how the effect of force changes the shape of an object. It may change temporarily or permanently. And we have also seen effect of force with the area of contact. If the area of contact decreases, then the effect of force will be higher, and if the area of contact is larger, then the effect of force will be lesser. And we have also seen a relationship between the force and the pressure. So pressure is nothing but amount of force which is acting perpendicularly in a unit area is called as pressure, and we have also seen the SI unit of pressure. Thank you.